So one of the biggest questions that we're hearing right now is from organisations who are bought into the continuous, ongoing approach to performance management. They really like it, but they're unsure about how they're going to handle performance-related pay decisions. Many organisations have pay linked to performance, and that's currently done through a rating that comes out of the annual appraisal. So if we take that away, the annual appraisal and the rating away, how do we handle these pay decisions? So the first thing to say is that if we're operating a continuous performance management process, and by that I mean we're having regular developmental conversations, we're giving people regular in-the-moment feedback, when it comes to trying to identify who we should be paying more to, who are our best performers, that process is then much simpler because we can simply go to managers and say, tell us who your best performers are. Now, we obviously need to be asking the right questions, and that's where there's a lot of different options available to us. So, we could be more traditional and stick with ratings, and that can still be done under a continuous model. You have a separate pay review process once a year that you go to your managers and say, right, give us the ratings for all of your team members. You can still do that. This move towards continuous performance management has also thrown into question about whether we should even be doing ratings. Are they the best way of measuring performance for pay purposes? The problem with ratings is that all the research has found that they're incredibly subjective. They're prone to manager bias, conscious, subconscious bias. Managers reverse engineer the ratings to get the reward outcome that they want. So there's all these problems inherent with ratings. So what some organisations have been doing is accepted that that's the case and say, well, how can we simplify this to minimise those problems? So they're saying, do we actually need to rate everyone? Or really, can we just simplify it by identifying who are just our top performers who maybe need a bit of extra reward, or identifying our low performers who maybe we want to withhold some reward from? That simplifies the process a lot, and any subjectivity is limited to just that top and bottom percent. So that's one option. Another option that people are considering is whether they should even be doing performance-related pay at all. If we look at where performance-related pay came from, it was a time in the 70s it became popular with those very high inflationary increases going on. So these pay awards were quite big, so they needed to be divvied up. We're in a situation now of low inflation. Pay awards tend to be quite low, so the difference between one rating and another that you would get in terms of pay is minimal. So people are saying, well, yeah, is it really worth all the effort and the heartache and angst that it causes for just a small amount of differentiation in reward? A third approach, and obviously getting rid of performance-related pay completely is not right for many organisations. So a third approach is the approach that I would call the targeted questions approach, and this is something that Deloitte have used to great effect. So instead of rating people, we ask a small number of targeted questions. Deloitte, for example, ask 4. And these questions are designed to be much more objective than just a standard 1 to 5 rating. So an example of this, if you're looking at someone who's high potential, Deloitte now say, is this person ready for promotion today? Yes or no? Very easy question for managers to answer. It takes away some of that subjectivity. So if we apply some of those questions to our end-of-year pay review, we can get potentially more objective outcomes. The key to getting this right is to make sure that whatever you do in terms of performance-related pay, you're keeping it separate from the developmental aspects of your performance management. So the check-ins that you're having throughout the year should be purely focused on development and performance improvement. We shouldn't be trying to put any kind of rating or measurements within that, because the two just do not sit well together. And let's be clear, if you're having a really great discussion and there's a rating coming at the end, you're just not going to be as open and honest about where you need to develop. So if you do one thing, make sure that you keep those two things completely separate.